Hello and welcome back to Space City Football. It's LC right after the match, and man, ew. Look, as the title suggests, man, shit show. Absolute, just terrible. More of the same, unfortunately. We're going to be breaking it down the whole match. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, throw a like on the video, join us in the live chat. Need to know your thoughts because, I mean, as I look out into the Twitter universe, there's a lot of love and support for this team, and basically the conversation down the line is absolutely the same. It's it's we're already questioning the manager. We're questioning the drive and the dedication of a lot of our players, and it's getting frustrating. It does not even begin to describe how Dynamo fans are feeling right now. We've now gone 6 games winless, and overall, even though we see various changes in the lineups, there's no change in the game. Just absolutely no change in the game. So we'll break it down as we go. Anything you want to chime in? Any comments, questions? Please join us in the conversation. It's very much how we steer how the show goes. First things first. Look, what we saw versus Chicago, what we saw versus Minnesota, is when we had these stretch of games where we were winning, we're scoring lots of goals, and then we turn around and we play these games again. We saw similar matchups, through these last weeks, especially in how the COVID season is set up. We play a lot of these teams several times over. Every single one of these teams has made adjustments to deal with our very attacking style form of football. How we maintain possession in the midfield, and how we build our play. And what we've seen is a lot of changes, a lot of transitions in our opponents. Zero changes in our style of play. Edison Ochoa, our defensive coordinator in transition, is a liability. Look, I agree 100%. Before Nashville, and I said this in the video right before the game, Nashville, we actually saw some sense of organization in our back four. We saw Vera holding his center defensive mid position throughout the game, and overall, it looked solid. It looked solid defensively. We gave up the goal early in the second half, but over the 90 minutes, it looks a lot better. Before that, versus Minnesota, especially versus Chicago, and then versus Dallas, and then we saw it again tonight. On the counterattack, we are Swiss cheese, basically. Figueroa and Stringer are not connected in the middle of the field. Vera is not there in the number 6 role. He leaves a gap, usually because he's playing too high, or he doesn't shift when we lose the ball quick enough. It's very much more of the same. It's as we try to maintain the possession in the middle of the field, over the last 3 games, it has no longer been our strength. It's actually been our downfall. And in a game like tonight, where you have not a weak Sporting Kansas side, but a struggling Sporting Kansas side, there's no sense of possession for either team. It's very much turnover after turnover after turnover, and it's all in the middle third of the field. Where the difference is when Sporting Kansas is turning over the ball, their back four is just way more organized. They're way more organized. They don't get flustered from long through balls, especially through the central areas of the field, and they're able to keep us from getting in behind and into the 18-yard box. All of our shots, basically, for the most part, especially in the first half, come from the edges of the 18 and beyond that. There's nothing deadly. There's nothing dangerous there. Zabad, our back four likes to play up, but when the opponents get the ball, they're so slow to get back, especially our fullbacks. And again, agree 100%. You're not wrong. And again, it just goes to show that Houston Dynamo fans we're not clueless. We're not stupid. We understand the game. We understand what it's supposed to look like. And over the last couple of matches, especially defensively, it just doesn't look that way. It absolutely makes no semblance of sense. And again, Struna back in the lineup tonight. I was very happy about that. I was not happy with Figueroa up in the lineup. And again, tell me if I'm wrong, but when we talk about the organization of the back four, is Figueroa, who is usually caught high. He struggles to get back. And centrally, there's a huge gap there. Valentin, again, struggled to get back. And Ludwig also, it's a lot of the same there. Those back four against Nashville, Ludwig, Valentin, Figueroa, and Cabrera were able to keep their shape, and they did not press as high as they had been. I was extremely happy to see that, because even though, yes, maybe it didn't allow the rest of our team to push as high as we normally do, we weren't caught off guard as many times as we were tonight, as many times as we were against Chicago. And I thought that we had come to an understanding that, look, even though we do like to play attacking football, even though we like to press high, if we have zero organization, then, it's off to the races for the opposition's attacking players. Mayor now out next match due to yellow card, accumulation. Yeah, look, man, Vera for me has been. Every team needs a goon. Every team needs an enforcer. Every team needs that player who it's, who's not afraid to get in with it, is willing to fight for his teammates, who's willing to kind of be that aggressive player. The problem with Vera is that either A, it comes at a time where it's absolutely unnecessary, or B, it gets way too over the top. Honestly, I can point to several situations over the last couple of matches where we should have been receiving red cards, and we've gotten extremely lucky. So now we got Mayor's out for a match, Vera's out for a match, and we're picking up these. Struna too picked up a yellow card at the end of the first half that. It makes absolutely no sense. He's way behind the ball. He comes in with the hard tackle. The only outcome that you could possibly expect is the ref to blow the whistle. And it's I'm hearing that Tab's press conference is on right now, so I will definitely look to make sure. I want to know what he has to say, because honestly, it's been, when we looked at Tab for answers, it's very beating around the bush. It's never direct. I think Tab has a lot to answer for especially over these last 6 games, and I don't think we're getting those answers. Real quick, while we're talking about these yellow cards and these players. Being suspended. If I'm that ref, Quintero absolutely gets a red card for me. End of the game, he goes down because he takes this alleged elbow to the face. And again, you take an elbow to the face, you go down. I get it. He's down for maybe half a second, pops up, shoves Winston Reed, and knocks him over. Look. Either you're looking to the ref to get the card and get the foul, or you're fighting. It can't be both. You can't be injured from an elbow to the face, pop up and come out shoving players. It doesn't happen. Look, there's this kind of this idea that Quintero is invincible for our team, like he can't get in trouble, like he is owed something by the rest of the team. And look, mate, love you to death. You score goals for us. Well on you. But if I'm Tab, Quintero's at least bench for a game. If not running laps all practice or whatever, whatever disciplinary, track he decides to take, you can't spark off like that at the end of the game. You're behind. You need, what I thought to myself is he's not pushing or he's not shoving Winston Reed. He's shoving himself because he knows he's had a terrible game. He knows the rest of the team have had a terrible game. He's looking for a handout from the ref basically on this supposed elbow. And instead, he gets too frustrated. He throws a temper tantrum and he shoves Winston Reed. And look, man, should have been a red card, wasn't a red card. And the result is now you get both teams, they come in together, they clash. Vera comes in, he's already on a yellow card. Vera shoves another player, didn't see who it was, but he comes in, he shoves another player. He's looking at him like, what? What are you going to do? Like, should have been a red card for Quintero, but could have been a red card for Vera as well. Struna comes in, could have been a red card. You escalate a situation that doesn't need to be escalating, and the possible consequences of that could have been extremely dire for us. So yeah, if I'm Tab, honestly, man, you got to get your team together because they're not right now. It's very much, you have players playing for themselves. You have players that are basically lost in the philosophy, whether it's they don't understand their role or whether they don't want to play that role. I'm not sure, but you have now gone a stretch of 6 games where you have seen no significant improvements, whether it's, and again, we talk about the, keys to the game beforehand, whether it's maintaining the possession in the midfield, whether it's, maintaining the shape in the organization of the defense, or, preventing shots centrally, or whatever it is. From game to game, it changes. But from game to game, we've seen no significant improvements. And honestly, it's just, I don't see where the direction is going other than Tab saying, well, it's supposed to be high press attacking football. There's a lot to answer for there. And it's not, it's not significant enough. There's no meat there. There's no there's really no explanation. It's just continue to beat around the bush. Let's get to next game and see how we do. Guys, if you're just joining us, welcome to Space City Football. We're talking about the match. Subscribe to the page if you haven't already. Give us a like on the video and share it with your friends. And as always, join us in the live chat because it's really you guys that make the show. Yeah. Let's see. I want to talk about Alan Pulido for a second because this number 9 for Sporting Kansas, he is the player to watch going into the match, right? He's the player that the commentators are talking about. Your coaching staff is eyeing him in his return to play, and he's going to be extremely dangerous for us. We don't have that right now. We don't have a player who we can rely on to create space, get in behind the defense, and have decent shots on goal. We ended the first half something like 53% possession, 7 shots, and 3 on target. I mean, just on paper, offensively blowing Kansas City out the water. And we've seen this for the last few matches where we have, with the exception of the Chicago game, because they just shut us down, but we have 16 shots on goals, 16 shots, 10 on goal, 17 shots, 9 on goal. We have these, on paper, it's these crazy high numbers, but, there's it's lackluster. It's not threatening. Even though you're creating 17, 18 shots a game, they're all off target. Whether you blame it on, losing a lease or whether you blame it on, we need to find this number 9, all well and good. What are you doing now in training to answer these problems? If I have a squad that has 17 shots and only 7 are on goal, first off, great on you, 7 are on goal. But if they're so unthreatening that we have 7 shots on goal and 0 goals at the end of the game, there's a finishing problem here. So when we go into the training session, it's, hey, yeah, we can keep possession, we can get into the final third, but if we can't put, shots on the back of the net, it's all for naught. And if you do not score goals, you will watch the other team score goals. End of the day, that's football. That's how it is. You can keep the ball as long as you want, but if you keep the ball for 90 minutes and it doesn't cross that line, you still don't win. So it's all well and good, but man, maybe you get Mateo Bahamic in, which, as we were talking about before the game, rumor is that deal has been agreed to, that deal is done. Apparently he's coming in. You get that player in. What happens when, he goes 5-6 games without a break? What happens when, he is all out of gas and you need to make that up? Or what happens if he's injured, God forbid? You can't sign one player and then admit that, and then say, well, we have this one player, he's going to be our guy. This is the one that's going to score goals for us. It's impossible. No one player can score every single goal for your team. With these last 6 games, whose end is it to blame? Tab, the players, or both, because the same mistakes are showing? I absolutely believe it's both. Look, Tab, for all of the success that Tab had in U.S. soccer with the under-20 side, to come into a club and he's been, with us for less than a year, however long it's been, 7 or 8 months or something like that. You get that excuse, not really an excuse, but you can say, look, I have to have time to build my philosophy, and that's fine. You have to have time to build some semblance of a program. But when it is week in, week out, and there's no results, then yeah, changes have to come from Tab. Absolutely, changes have to come from Tab. He, you can look at the bench and say, well, he doesn't have XYZ player, or his reserve, the bench has no depth, or you can make all those arguments that you want, but at the end of the day, it's his job to find a combination that works. On the field, on the field, attitudes absolutely get in the way. It seems like there are very few players who have the pride and the desire to go above and beyond for the club. And again, with the exception of a few, because there are some players that absolutely, love playing for Houston and want to play for this club. And I'm not arguing that. But there are players that they play for the name on the back, not the crest on the front. And it shows and it's obvious, especially in those situations like we saw tonight with Quintero shoving players around. He deserved a red card. You cannot convince me that he did not deserve a red card, because he absolutely did. Vera, who comes in right afterwards and risk a second yellow card, those types of players that cause those kinds of problems are playing for themselves. They're not playing for the team. He can come in and say, well, I was trying to back my players. No, you weren't. Because you helped no one. You helped no one. You're all upset. You're looking to, to make some kind of stand with the other team. You're looking to, to piss them off somehow, or show them that you're here. But you're not doing anything to help the team. You're only hurting the team. And then when you look at the rest of the team, that's disciplinary. But when it comes to the actual football, yeah, when Figueroa is playing way out of position, leaves a huge gap in the center of the field, and he does it over and over and over and over again. Look, if you're not fixing that in training, man, you're not fixing it in the game. And it's only led to goals. It has only led to goals, against us. If I look, and I had this number the other day when we were talking, it's 2, 3, 7, 9, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 13 goals against us in 8 games. 13 goals against us in 8 games, and I will not chalk that up to the goalkeeper. I will not put that on his head, because it's not Maric. It's not. Even tonight, man, Maric is flailing himself around, had some amazing saves, gets up, makes the second save, works his absolute ass off, and then and he still gets scored on, because there's this disconnect between the back four and the number 6 Vera. It's there's no accountability. That's definitely going to be the word of the day, because there is no accountability defensively. There's no accountability in the midfield when we lose the ball going forward. And there's no accountability when we're taking 16, 17 shots a game and only 5 of them are on target. Someone in the Dynamo camp has to, grab these players by the scruff of the neck and say, this is what you're doing. Are you happy with it? Because we're not. The fans aren't. It's 15 years of a football club, and this is where we're at right now. And again, you can say, well, we changed, we changed managers X amount of times, or we changed players X amount of times, or we lost this player, or we should have kept that player. At the end of the day, 15 years in, and you have not built a football club that can maintain a playoff position. And it's frankly, it's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. I absolutely outstanding point, guys. I'm going back and forth between the channel and Twitter, because again, there's a lot of Dynamo fans on Twitter. They're all expressing basically, the same thoughts. Look, this is the first game. This is the first game this season, and the first game in a while that Memo Rodriguez has not started for us. And what I said before the match, and the video is there, you can go back and look at it. I said, look, if you're going to not start Memo, that's fine. But this is one of those players, one of those few players, and he's a homegrown player, and this is probably why. He is one of those players that when he puts on the orange jersey, he's like, yeah, this is where I belong. This is my club. This is my team, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to work my ass off for this team. He is one of those few players, and he maintains possession for us. He opens up space for us. He's extremely creative going forward, and he scores his goals. If you're going to rest a player like Memo, that's fine. I get it. Eventually he has to find some time to rest. I get it. When you do that, though, when you take him out of the starting lineup, you cannot also take him out of the bench. You just can't do it. You have to have him available. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And look, in a game where, it's both teams. It's us and Sporting. When it's Every ball that goes back and forth through the middle third is a turnover. It's Kansas has it, then we have it, then Kansas has it, and back and forth and back and forth. A little too early. Great question. I'm gonna answer that in just a second. You have to have a leader, an organizer, a figure like Memo in the midfield when it's not working, and it was not working tonight. And you look at the bench, and there's no one there that can fill that role. There's other midfielders, and you can put other midfielders in, and it might look better. But when the plot is lost, and you have to get it, and you have to rally the troops, you have to have a player like Memo, who is, he comes in, he's a figure that everyone respects and understands, and he can come in and make that difference. And when you don't have that, you suffer. There is absolutely no reason that Memo Rodriguez, even if you're resting him, is not in the lineup. If he's not in the starting lineup, fine, he's got to be on the bench. You can't go in without him, not right now. Not at this point. Not when you're 14th place trying to claw your way back to a playoff position. It can't happen. It may be a little early to say or not. Is there anyone that you think needs to go? Quintero. Quintero needs to go. Tired of him. Tired of the attitude. Tired of him thinking he's too good for this club. Because frankly, man, look, it doesn't matter if you... Everybody's got to have self-love, and I get that. Everybody's got to love themselves. Everybody got to believe that they can be the best. Everybody's got to, this is a player who thinks that, excuse me, but he thinks his shit don't stink. He thinks that he is above this club. He thinks that he's above these teammates. And you saw it tonight. And tonight was a perfect example, and he scores goals fine. He's, one of the top goal scorers of our club. That's fine. You ain't that good, mate. You're not. You're not too good to be cut. And what Tab has to recognize, and what the rest of the staff has to recognize, is even though he scores goals, at what point does it become more hurt than help? At what point does it become so detrimental that, that we take him out? Even if we just take him out of the starting lineup, fine. But there's got to be a reckoning. If he is in the starting lineup for the next game, look, I'm writing a strongly worded letter to somebody, probably Tab, but if he's in the starting lineup for the next game, I'm going to be pissed because he absolutely does not deserve it. Not after tonight, not after the last couple of matches, definitely not. Figueroa is another one. I think that, look, he's a player that, and I said, and again, we touched on this earlier, but I think he's a player that maybe he's trying to win a spot in the midfield. Maybe he doesn't like being a center back. I'm not sure, but he likes to, for some reason, get into the midfield, usually in that number 6 role, control the ball with his feet and, and play with the ball. And it's like, dude, you're a center back. Be a center back. Receive the ball, distribute the ball, let's play forward. You're dancing with the ball at your feet. You're going to turn it over, and it's going to turn into a break. It's happened before. Either that or you're getting in, around the midfield line and you're taking shots like you did against Dallas. It makes no sense to me. And then when you push that high and then we do lose the ball and the counter comes, you're out of position and we're screwed. Figueroa is definitely another one for me. Look, when it comes to supporting a manager, it's extremely easy to put all the blame on the manager and say, yeah, get him out. I don't think Tab's there yet. I mean, and again, I hate to make the comparison because it's not a direct comparison, but you look to when Bradley was the manager at Swansea for like 11 matches in the Premier League, and then they duck him. Like, there's no what are you looking for in 11 matches? With Tab, what are you looking at in 1 year? And again, drastic changes need to be made. I'm not arguing that fact. I'm not I'm not saying that, what he's doing is okay for now. Definitely not, because it's not. It's not okay. But to say Tab needs to go, it's too early. And I will back my, I can question my manager without just being like, yo, Tab out. So, I mean, that's a lot of people not happy about this game. That's where I'm at right now. And look, it's not just, if you look at the defense, it's not just Vera, it's not just Figueroa. Look, there tonight especially, there's no urgency in the back four. There's no urgency to close down players. There's no urgency to win the ball and get it out of dangerous play. Too much time and space, especially for Pulido. Is, in his first goal, way too much time and space. He beats like 5 players with his shot. It's ridiculous that he gets that much time and space. So it's not just one player. But this is a player that I've had issues with over these last 6-7 matches. And yeah, that's great question, but yeah, that's my immediate 2. If they're not out of the team, they're at least out of the starting lineup, because there has to be some kind of accountability. There has to be some accountability there. Next match, and oh man, let's just talk about October for a second, because if this is going to be the norm going forward, October is about to be rough. It is about to be rough, and October is my birthday month. I don't like having a rough October, but 4 weeks, 8 matches, 7 left. COVID schedule, clustered as all get out. 4 days from now, we're back home. We have Dallas. First things first, it's not the derby it used to be. You know what I mean? Doesn't seem much like it matters to a lot of the players either way, which when you have a rivalry like this, sucks. I'm worried after this match going into Dallas just 4 days away. And maybe that's why you don't play Memo today. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe that's why we don't play Memo today. So he's fresh for Dallas. I had a lot of hope after Nashville. I had a lot of hope. It was a tough draw. I hated drawing, but I had a lot of hope because it looked like we had some semblance of organization. After tonight, I don't know about Dallas. I don't know, especially after we just lost to them 2-1 in Frisco. You think we can beat Dallas at least once? What's the message going to be if we lose both matches? Look, 100%. 100%. What do you make this announcement of this potential rebrand? You're like, look, man, we love the city of Houston and we love its people, and there's this disconnect, and we're so upset that there's this disconnect, and we want to bring more fans in. What does it say if you can't win your rivalry matches? I mean, shelve for a moment even getting into a playoff position, shelve for a moment, going 6 matches without a win. It's really more than that, honestly. When was our last win? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, so it is 6 matches. I was right. 6 matches without it. What does it say when you can't beat Dallas? And Dallas are not a good team. Dallas are not a good team. They were a good team maybe a couple of years ago. They were looking at, top spot in the conference. Since they lost that manager, you can blame U.S. Soccer for that one. Since they lost that manager, there's been no recovery. It's not like this is it's not like it's our Lex Luthor. You know what I mean? It's not this it's not this unwinnable game. It doesn't take that much. But to go into a rivalry game at home after a performance like that with just a 4-day turnaround, serious changes have to be made. Serious changes have to be made. Here's what I want to see against Dallas. We've already said, don't want Quintero in. You got to find somebody else. But maybe you put Hansen and Lassiter in. I think that's absolutely an option. You don't have Vera because he's suspended. So Boniek probably coming in with Memo and I mean, I guess there's a couple of combinations you could go there. There's really you have a potential of putting a couple of different players there. But I mean, you know, you're definitely shot yourself in the foot already because now you have these players that, you know, that can't play. I'm happy to see happy is the wrong word. Pissed off that Figueroa is suspended, but definitely just don't want him in the lineup. So, you know, look, Cabrera goes back in there. You put him next to Struna, who, again, got a yellow card tonight, was completely unnecessary. You know, do you go Valentin and Ludenvis again? Maybe not. Look, man, say what you want about Junqua, but Mans comes in and he's like, look, we're losing. Everybody's pissed off. Tensions are high. I got to find a moment. And he found a moment. Look, it comes off the corner. You can argue that it's whatever. But look, kid came in and he found a goal. It's more than he can say about any of the other players that played tonight. You know, so maybe you take out Ludenvis because he has been playing so many matches, and you need to shake things up because there needs to be some kind of accountability. Yeah. Oh, man, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. So you go Serin, you go Memo, you probably go Boniek in the midfield up top. As long as Quintero's not there, I'm happy. That's really what it is. You can't go into another match and have this kind of selfish, hot-headed, you know, it's so detrimental at this point. It's so absolutely it's just so absolutely detrimental. Memo Rodriguez left out of Houston versus SKC as a precaution due to thigh injury. Oh God. I was trying to before the game. I was looking pretty much everywhere, looking for some kind of update on an injury report. I wasn't sure why Memo wasn't playing tonight, and apparently he's got a thigh injury. And they say it was just a precaution, so maybe it's not that serious. But good God, if he can't play against Dallas, if Memo cannot play against Dallas, I'm chucking it up as a loss at this point. And look, I hate to be so grim. I hate to have this kind of, you know, dark outlook, but over these last 6 games, I don't know how else we're supposed to feel as the fan base. You know, it's oh man, it's so oof, man, that hit home just now. Wow, okay. And again, as we're talking about the rebrand, this is the type of news that the Dynamo continue to hide from the fan base. And again, I don't know if it comes from the top. I don't know if it's Brenner. I don't know why, but there is this lack of information. I could not find anything about Memo before the start of this match. Could not find it. The lineup comes out about half an hour before the match. We're talking about it in the pre-match show. I immediately noticed it. I was like, what is going on? And I can't find anything. It's the same thing that's going on with the Bahamic transfer. There's absolutely no news. The only news that I was able to find about the transfer 4 days ago came from Sunderland. It did not come from our camp. You know, it's so hard to find Dynamo news because, I mean, it's like they're hiding with their tail between their legs. It is, you know, it's like they're scared to bring the report card home to mom and dad, the fans, because of how we're going to react to it. I mean, the only thing I could say to them is like, look, man, we're all big boys and girls. We can take it. But if you want to claim that you're bridging the gap between the club and Houston, and you hide stuff like this from people, man, what does that say about us as a football club? And I mean, what is the point of a rebrand if you're not willing to be honest with your fan base? You have to be honest. I'm not saying you have to tell us absolutely everything that's going on with the club. We don't need to know that. But we absolutely need to know what happens to our star homegrown player when we're facing a side like Kansas City. I don't understand why that's left out. That is hurtful to me. Honestly, as a fan, that is hurtful. Let us know how you feel in the live chat. Again, we'll be wrapping it up here in a couple of minutes, but questions, comments, concerns, especially surrounding this new news. Want to know what your thoughts are on Memo. Again, he's beloved. He's a beloved player, but you can't hide that. You absolutely cannot hide that. Man, last I looked, and I have not looked recently, but UTRGV were in their match. UTRGV. I'm stuck in college mode. I was looking at that earlier. But the Toros, RGV Toros, were winning their match. And let's check it out. 75th minute, 4-1 to the Toros right now, or OKC Energy. OKC Energy is not a bad team, so I'm very happy to see that they're winning. Because again, they've had a tough time too. They were last in their division or in their group, and they're still last in their group. OKC is one spot above them, so the Toros will move up into fourth. And look, the only reason I think this is important because we have these gaps in our team. We have these gaps where we need players, whether it's in the number 9 spot because we need a finisher. We need a CDM who will actually hold the position and not start fights and get unnecessarily yellow cards. Or we need a center back that, will, and fullbacks, honestly, that will maintain the shape. Keeping tabs, follow us back. Thanks, Keeping Tabs. Always good to follow us on the Twitter if you haven't already. It's in the description below. But look, man, we have this massive farmer program. Farmer teams is the wrong word, but I mean, it's essentially what it is. We have Houston Dynamo Dash youth clubs all over the city and through parts of Texas. We have teams like the Toros and, some of these USL teams all over the state. And if you're going to continue to be a club with a clamp on the pocketbook, then, maybe it's time to make some call-ups, because we have players in the USL that would absolutely kill for a spot on this team and would fight for this club and would fight for the spot on the field and would improve week to week. Because honestly, right now, and again, other than Memo, and again, he's my absolute favorite. So yeah, maybe I'm a little biased, but other than Memo, I can't point to a player who week in, week out is improving, even if it's a little bit, because you look as an athlete, your improvement for a while, it looks like that, but eventually it starts to look like that, and the improvement gets little and little. It goes little by little every time, but I can't point to a player right now who is showing any signs of improvement. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, it is our reality. So look, going into Dallas, you only have a few days. In between now and then, you're not getting a lot of training sessions in. So honestly, the conversation around the club has to be, here's the points that we set out. Here's where we failed to meet, and it has to change. Here's where the accountability comes in. You picked up a yellow card, you're suspended, you're out for this game. And honestly, if I'm Tab, you're probably out for more than one game, Quintero's out, disciplinary issues, and then you start to pick apart the rest of the team. And it's like, look, if you can't improve, we'll find somebody that will. And look, if we got to go to the USL to do that, fine. You know, we get caught up in this idea that that we have to win every single game to show improvement, and that's not the case. It's never the case. You have to improve little by little, and if there's no improvement at all, it doesn't matter how good you've been in the past. Now it's time to reap the whirlwind. If you haven't improved, it's time for the bench. That's my thoughts, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We will, again, the rumor is that this transfer with Mateo Bahamic out of Instituto is done. Haven't seen anything out of the Dynamo camp. If something does come up in the next couple of days, we will immediately jump on it. Keep an eye on our Twitter page because we'll always post it there, and then we'll jump on here. And we will be, I will probably most likely be in the stadium for the Dynamo match. So we will look to do that pre-match show probably pretty early, probably before the actual lineups come out, because for some reason the Dynamo keep wanting to wait for the last minute to let the lineups out. But we will do a pre-match before the game. Keep an eye on our Twitter page. The time will be posted, and then we'll set up on here as well, so you'll be able to see when the actual show starts. So please join us for the pre-match show, and then of course we'll be on right after, as we always are. If you see me in the stadium, say what's up. Hadid, thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, like the page, share it. Guys, for those of you who are new, and again, just, if you just subscribe to the channel, basically what this is about is, it is about the Dynamo. It is a Houston football channel, but it's really about all things football surrounding us in Houston and in the U.S. It's all things that involve the MLS, U.S. soccer, Houston soccer, and the Dynamo and the Dash. So if there's anything that you guys want to talk about, hit me up on Twitter or hit me up in the live chat, and we'll talk about it. It's very much about what you guys want to hear. I'm always looking for suggestions, questions, comments. If you want to know anything about me, go ahead and ask me. Because, I'm a longtime Houston fan, Houston born. This is my city. We keep it for the orange. Thanks, guys. I love y'all. Sorry about tonight. Let's go get Dallas. Vamos.